Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom, to Cheifs Latest. This is your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs, usually in 15 minutes or less. We have a spooktacular episode planned for you today. That's right. Happy Halloween. It is your host, Calvin Silvers. Welcome in. I get it. It doesn't look like I have a costume on. In fact, it didn't even cost much. But in today's economy, sometimes you got to go with the DIY costumes. Now, you might be asking yourself, Calvin, what is your costume? I'll tell you what it is. It is an optimistic Chiefs fan who thinks that the Chiefs are going to beat the Bills on Sunday afternoon. Now, let me know in the comments what you guys are going as for Halloween. And also, what is your favorite Halloween candy? I'm telling you, if I see a Snickers up for grab, yeah, it is wraps. It's going right into the candy bag. In fact, do kids still carry around those little plastic, pumpkin candy bags around? Do they? I don't know. I'm so far removed from the scene. I have no idea, but we're not even here to discuss chocolates and gummy bears and costumes. We're here to talk football. But before we do that, you guys know the drill. You guys know the goal, and you guys know the goal pretty well. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of December, but with the numbers going the way they are, you guys are absolutely killing it. I love it. So we're going to switch the goal. We're going to try to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of November. I think it's possible. I really, really do. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, and also make sure you turn on those notifications. I'll tell you why. Because we have daily videos here at Cheifs Latest, Monday through Friday. You're not going to want to miss any of the news, rumors, or actions regarding this team, so please help us get to that 1,000 subscribers. Hit that button, turn on those notifications, as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Now, it's weird to say that we're less than 72 hours away from kickoff. I feel like we've had a lot of either Sunday night or Monday night games, but doesn't matter. Bills, Chiefs, all eyes are going to be on this one, and the injury report, it's shaping up to be a massive factor. We're going to start with the Chiefs. Left tackle Josh Simmons, he remains dealing with those family issues that Andy Reid hinted on the other day, so this is going to be the fourth straight game that he's going to miss. Casey's been leaning in on fill-ins. We saw it last week. Mike Caliendo, Jalen Moore. The pass protection, it was shaky. It showed that they were leaning in on fill-ins, especially when Mahomes had to drop back. Isaiah Pacheco did not practice on Thursday. That was the second straight practice that he missed, of course, with that MCL sprain that he had to deal with on Sunday that he got dealt with. So he's officially listed as week to week. But you got the Bills this week, likely going to sit out. Then you have the bye in week 10. So there's 2 weeks in a row to get healthy. Hopefully have him back week 11. Then Trey Smith, the right guard, he's listed as questionable with those back spasms, but he was only limited Wednesday and Thursday. That's huge because he was out all of last week. He did not practice at all last week. So if he gets to play, the O-line gets a nice little boost. But if not, the Bills, they could cause some pass rush damage. Of course, we're going to talk about that here more in a second, more in depth when we get to the previews. Now, let's go to the Bills side. They have their own mountains of injuries that they're trying to overcome or that they're just trying to sort through themselves. Daquan Jones, a rotational defensive tackle. He did not practice again with a calf injury on Thursday. He's a true run stuffer. So if he's out, Casey's interior run game, yes, even without Isaiah Pacheco, at least gets a slight boost there. Now let's go to their kicker, Matt Prater. He was limited as well with a right calf injury. He's truly money from 50-plus yards, so if he's hobbled at all, the field position battles are going to tilt slightly in favor of Kansas City. Then Shaq Thompson, a rotational linebacker. He was downgraded to did not practice after he was limited on Wednesday. He's a coverage guy, so if he's out, Kelsey, Noah Gray, they're likely to see more one-on-one matchups, and I think they could take advantage of those. Josh Palmer, the wide receiver, he was upgraded to limited after he did not practice on Wednesday. Then Joey Bosa, Jordan Phillips, we're starting to get into more of the meat and potatoes here of the injury report. They were both full participants. That's bad news for Kansas City's O-line. Bosa's pass rush win rate is top 10 in the league. And Phillips, he's able to clog the lanes. Terrell Bernard, a starting linebacker. Matt Milano, the other starting linebacker. They were both full participants again as well. So Buffalo truly expects them to be back on Sunday. Bernard, he leads in tackles. Milano, he leads in coverage great. So the Chiefs face nothing new this week. Nothing surprises them on the injury report. Nothing new popped up. Nothing late popped up. God forbid, knock on wood here as this is being recorded Friday early. But the Bills, they have a mixture of getting guys back, trying to figure out those depth pieces because a lot of them are still out. But the linebacker duo returning, Bosa and Phillips being full go, there's going to be some pressure on Mahomes. And speaking of Mahomes, let's go ahead and dive into what he's been doing and what this offense has been doing, because Kansas City has won 5 of its last 6, averaging 29.3 points per game over that stretch. And the offense, it's really been clicking, especially in the past few games. They've scored 28 plus points in 5 straight. They sit at the plus 83 in point differential. That's second in the NFL right now. And every win this season has been by double digits. Bigger margin than last year's start to this point. That's good news. The run game. Yes, it remains a choose your spot operation here. Remember those books, Choose Your Adventure, where you got to flip through the page that you chose? It's kind of like that with the run game. They really pick and choose when they want to run. Isaiah Pacheco out now. Kareem Hunt is going to likely have to step up and be that lead running back. We've talked all week. Is he ready for that workload? He's only hit 13 plus carries once this year. He had 4 a couple weeks ago against the Raiders. Yes, he's been dominant in short yardage and pass protection, but can he be relied on to carry the ball more than 13 plus times a game? Rashard Smith, the rookie, he's going to likely be your second in command, that little scat back type. He's electric in space. But has he earned the trust to run between the tackles? Can the coaches allow him to have 10 plus inside runs in this game? He fumbled, remember, early. He did recover it, but he fumbled early. I think that's an issue here that the Chiefs coaches are trying to overcome, is just that trust. Buffalo's run defense is begging, though, to be attacked. It sits at 31st in rushing yards allowed per game. 5.5 yards per carry allowed. That's second worst in the league. And don't forget Ed Oliver, their best interior disruptor. He's now on IR with a torn bicep that he suffered in the Carolina game. So the matchup screams, Chiefs, you need to pound the rock. But KC will likely stay timid with the run. Yes, they've gotten better at leaning or going with the run in certain aspects lately. But with Pacheco out, I expect him to be a lot more timid, at least with this one. But they shouldn't be afraid to have the run, to use the run, to set up play action. You have to keep the defenses honest just a little bit, especially this Bills defense. Where the Chiefs can feast, though, if it's not the run game, is through the air in one regard. Buffalo leans on a 3-corner zone look, with safeties Cole Bishop and Tyler Rapp playing 20-plus yards off the line. So what does that mean? Well, that leaves that the middle is open. The middle is soft. And Rashee Rice, he just ate up that zone last week, going 9 for 9 over the middle. Travis Kelce, as I mentioned earlier with Noah Gray, they should see more one-on-one looks all day. They're going to eat that up. The Bills' pass rush, though, is the real threat. Their top edge rush trio, A.J. Epinesa, Greg Rousseau, Joey Bosa, they have combined for 8 sacks, 39 tackles, and multiple forced fumbles this year. They're fast off the snap. They know Mahomes' cadence. They are going to expect the unexpected that comes when playing against Mahomes. Bosa is back to being himself. They'll hurt the edges here. But Mahomes outside the pocket, I know you might be worried here with those names I brought up and those numbers I brought up, but Mahomes outside the pocket is a weapon on full display right now. Against Washington, he was 8 for 9 for 149 yards when held over 4 seconds. So all 3 touchdown throws were coming on extended plays. They were coming on improvised scrambles. He scrambled on 25% of dropbacks. 28% of dropbacks. Not necessarily out of necessity, like the last 2 years because of our O-line, but because the play is developing against coverages. The weapons are a lot more reliable now for him. And don't sleep on 4th down either. KC is 14 for 17 this season. They're on pace to shatter franchise and league records. They're 5th in attempts right now, 1st in conversions. They're going for it what seems like every time they get a chance to, week in and week out, and they're making it. That's the important part. The fact that Mahomes can extend drives, the fact that the ball can be in Mahomes' hands longer, that's not good for opposing teams. The Chiefs have an opportunity to feast on Buffalo's poor defense, poor run defense. But Hunt and Smith, they haven't been thrusted into these roles yet. They might be a little rusty, or they just might not look capable right away. If the offense can protect the edges and let Mahomes Cook in structure and in chaos, the right amount of chaos, they're going to exploit the middle. They're going to extend the plays. I don't see why the Chiefs offense can't handle this Bills defense as long as they just keep them a little honest. You should be able to run over them. Well, let's go ahead and talk about our own defense, because over the last 6 games, get this, the Chiefs defense ranks top 5 in both points and yards allowed, and they're bringing that heat into Buffalo. They've held 4 straight regular season opponents to 320 or fewer total yards, only the 6th time in 20 years, and allowed just 131 points through 8 games. That's the fewest since 1998. Only 2023 and 2013 were stingier at this point. They've given up 2,222 total yards, and no defense this decade has allowed less through 8. The run defense has been a brick wall the past 3 games, allowing 54 carries for 184 yards. That's 3.4 yards per carry. 0 rushing touchdowns allowed since week 5. They've held 6 running backs well below their season averages this year. Spags, again, hasn't let a rusher hit 100 yards in 27 straight games. And they've added the addition of Mike Pennell. He's now in the mix. Expect some heavier run-stop packages against the NFL's top rushing attack, because here comes James Cook, 753 yards, 6 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns, averaging 107.6 yards a game. He just dropped 250 versus Carolina. He's 399 yards before contact. So that means Buffalo's O-line, Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown, they're opening gaping holes for James Cook. The Bills are number 1 in rushing, 164.4 yards per carry. That's 20 more than number 2, and they're 4th in scoring at 29.6 points per game. Don't forget, while James Cook is going to do a lot of it with his legs, you know who else has some legs? You know who else is dangerous? You know who else has legs and an arm? Josh Allen. Can't forget about him. But KC has stonewall elite rushing attacks, especially against the Eagles, the Lions. In fact, the Lions game kind of set the tone for this defense. They've allowed fewer than 300 total yards and 17 points in that game. You held Amon-Ra St. Brown, Gibbs, well below their season normals. Since then, just 7 points allowed in 2 games. And the last time KC did that was in back-to-back regular season games in 2019. Against Washington, the second half was straight lockdown. 20 plays allowed, 65 yards, 3 punts, 1 interception, 14 points allowed over the last 10 quarters as an entire defense. The only weak spot, truly, is the pass rush. It's bottom 10 in hurry/pressure rate, according to PFF. Only Karlaftis, who's 4th, and Chris Jones, who's 23rd, are in the top 100 of hurries this season. George Karlaftis has been a beast. 4.5 sacks, 36 pressures, 16.5% pressure rate, 2.9 seconds to pressure, 14 quick pressures. Compare that to someone like Aiden Hutchinson. He's 1.5 fewer sacks, but has higher pressure rate, and he gets to the quarterback faster. Chris Jones, meanwhile, has just 2 sacks, but he's been buried in double teams. He's playing 81% of snaps. He needs some help. He needs someone to take some of that pressure off of him. He can't be doing this all season at his age. Buffalo's passing game, Josh Allen 20th right now in passing yards. That's kind of surprising. He's behind quarterbacks like Spencer Rattler, Joe Flacco. Then you have Khalil Shakur. He leads with 356 yards, but Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, they have no yak ability. They don't get separation. It kind of reminds you, honestly, of KC's wide receiver core in 2023. They live on 12 personnel of Kincaid and Knox, but if Cook is held under 100 yards like we think this defense is going to do, they're truly one-dimensional. Expect Spags, 3 linebacker, 2 deep safety looks here. If KC wins the turnover margin, they're nearly unbeatable, as they're historically the fewest takeaways among Super Bowl champs, but now that's changed. This defense is something to be reckoned with. I was just listing off all those stats for you guys because truly I didn't realize how well this defense was playing at times. So the fact that Josh Allen's not the Josh Allen that he has been with his arm, at least, due to the talent around him, it's the run game that we really have to be worried about. Well, I just talked about how this team needs some pass rush help, some D-line help. So let's go ahead, talk some trade talk here because it's always fun. And the Cardinals, Calais Campbell, he could be the veteran anchor that is ready to steady the trenches. 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. He's still churning it out this year, even at his age. 17 pressures. He's on pace for his 15th straight season with at least a 71 PFF grade. At 39, 9 quarterback hits, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks in 7 games. He's playing really anywhere right now up front. The Cardinals have dropped 5 straight. They handed the Titans their only win. If that doesn't scream rebuild mode, I don't know what does. Campbell's 1-year deal, it's not going to fit what the Cardinals have in the future. So a day 3 pick, I would assume, gets it done. And I can see the Chiefs making this move. And the beauty of it all, Campbell's block shedding savviness, his gap control, he can mentor some of the young guys in the building right now. And he fills a void left by Norman Lott without breaking the bank. He's going to be a season-long stabilizer. Then there's someone like Bradley Chubb, a 29-year-old, 4 sacks, 13 quarterback hits, a forced fumble in 8 games. His first step explosion makes him a second and third down dynamo. Though he's not going to be your run stopper, but you don't need that right now when you brought in Mike Pennell. Slotting him in slides Mike Dana, Ashton Gelati down a little bit. It adds some juice to a pass rush that's 20th in pressure rate. The 6'4", 275-pound beast, 34-inch arms. He bends the edge. He collapses pockets. It'd be a nice fit. But the catch is, Chubb's contract is a beast. $31 million cap hits in 2026 and 2027. With KC's cap space, getting Miami to eat half of that seems like a pipe dream. Ripping it up, paying dead cap, renegotiating, yeah, that all might work. But the Dolphins aren't going to be doing the Chiefs any favors. So Campbell's the affordable, immediate fix, a day 3 pick, a proven play in a depleted D-line right now. I see the Chiefs making that move. Chubb's the dream swing, but the cap crunch makes it a long shot. So Beach, he has to balance this youth that we have, but also bets to, be a stabilizer and just keep this operation humming. Well, that is all that I have for you on this Halloween special. Hopefully I didn't spook you guys out too much with the trade talks or anything, but let me know what you thought of everything and what is your guys' predictions for a score on Sunday. There's a lot I want you guys to answer. What you guys are going as for Halloween, favorite candies, what you guys think of the trade talks, and also your guys' prediction for the game. I can't wait to read all your guys' comments. Once again, you are listening to Cheifs Latest. Help us get to that 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't hit that subscribe button by now, hey, you made it to the end of the video. Hopefully you liked what you heard, so go ahead, hit that button and turn on those notifications. I'm your host, Calvin Silvers. You are listening to Cheifs Latest, and until next time, have a good one.